What's up, guys? Another great week of football we had this past week. A lot of good stuff happened, but honestly, I don't really want to talk about it. I gotta get this finished with. So, with that, let's get into this week's predictions. Our first matchup, battle of the two UNC students that share the same living quarters. Team the Scrooge Bruder, Evan Bruder, against South of the Border, Michael Melvin. For Scrooge, I'm going to take Dwayne Bowe against New Orleans Saints. I think the Saints will be out to prove something this week after starting the season 0-2. By halftime, I believe all the Chiefs will be saying, "We're not in Kansas anymore." And the Chiefs being down is nice for fantasy, though. Garbage time led to big points for both Matt Castle and Bowe last week. So look for these two to hook up somewhere over Dwayne Bowe late. That's too many cheesy Wizard of Oz references for one show. For Melvin, I'm going to take Calvin Johnson against the Tennessee Titans. Nobody really sticks out for me on Melvin's team this week, so that's a part of the reason why I'm taking Calvin. At the same time, though, Megatron hasn't scored a touchdown yet this season, and I can't imagine Calvin going 3 games without scoring a touchdown. For the matchup, while Evan only had 4 points from Victor Cruz on Thursday night, Melvin only had 12 from Cam and Justin Tuck. This puts Melvin in a hole early. With his running backs having tough matchups, I don't think he can come back. So I'm taking Scrooge. Next matchup, rebuilding year, Lawson McDonald against Hospital Bed Dreams, Kendall Wagner. For Lawson, I'm taking Matt Stafford against the Tennessee Titans. Stafford has had a rough 2 games to open the season, only getting 14 points in each of these games. Look for this week to be the week that Stafford bounces back. For Kendall, I'm going to take Miles Austin against the Tampa Bay Bucks. After the Bucks gave up over 500 passing yards last week, it's hard not to take Miles here. For the matchup, last week I said Lawson's running backs would be lucky to get their projected totals in a Pop Warner game. I was right except for one of them. However, Trent Richardson doesn't seem like a number 1 running back still. I like Kendall's matchups this week, and so I'm going to take him. Our next matchup, Team Lil Ging, Brad Gingrich against Team Big Rod, Zach Roddy. For Brad, I'm going to take AJ Green against the Washington Redskins. You gotta like the matchup here. I think Green will have a good week, but I also think Doug Martin will too. I probably would have picked Martin, but I already have AJ Green's picture, and I don't want to go through the work of dealing with all that crap. For Roddy, I'm going to take Percy Harvin against the San Francisco 49ers. Although Roddy gave me crap about picking Peyton last week, I'm still going to make a pick for Roddy this week. I'm going to take Percy here because Christian Ponder looks for Percy a ton, and I think the two will have a good week here. For the matchup, Brad had a big day from Martellus Bennett on Thursday night to give him an early lead. However, it's going to be tough for Roddy to come back with points this week, especially with Peyton having a tough matchup against the Texans defense. So I'm going to take Brad. Next matchup, everything real big, Andrew Johnson against the Guru, Will Robinson.
Who's that man, Gronkowski? If the end zone was a home, he'd have a house key.
I'm just kidding. I'm not taking him again this week. I'm going to take RG3 against the Cincinnati Bengals. RG3 has been killing it so far, and I think that that'll continue here against the Bengals defense that made Brandon Weeden look like, well, a good Browns quarterback. For the good, I'm going to take Mike Wallace against the Oakland Raiders. Wallace has scored in both weeks so far, and the Raiders aren't exactly the best defense in the NFL. Look for Wallace to have another solid week here. For the matchup, we'll have a killer night Thursday night, getting 41 points from Eli and league candidate for MVP, most valuable pickup, as termed by Will Robinson, Andre Brown. Andrew has a solid team right now, though, and I see a possible comeback here, so I'm going to take Andrew. Next matchup, freaking huge gnomes, yours truly. Against Pawtucket Southpaws, David Edwards. For me, I'm going to take Ryan Matthews against the Atlanta Falcons. There are a few other guys on my team that I would like to take this week, which should be the case because I don't like to think that my team sucks or anything, like a few of you might. Think of yours, not mine. But I'm looking forward to see how my keeper does in his first game back from injury. For David, I'm going to take Dez Bryant against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I already said I like Miles this week, and after both number 1 and number 2 wide receivers for the Giants going off last week against the Bucks, I see the same happening here. For the matchup, so far my season has been quite frustrating, both in fantasy and in the NFL. Every time that the Panthers win, I lose. And every time that I win, the Panthers lose. Let's hope this stays the same for this week. I pray that it's just this week. I'm taking myself. Game of the week. The legend, Rodney James. Against Grilled Breeze Sandwich, Trey Combest. The legend take Jimmy Graham against the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I said, I expect the Saints to send a message this week, and I believe it's safe to say that in order for this to happen, Graham will be very involved. For Trey, I'm going to take Drew Brees against the Kansas City Chiefs. I've already hit on the Saints-Chiefs game a few times here. The Chiefs have given up the most points to quarterbacks so far this year, and that has come against Mark Sanchez and Ryan Fitzpatrick, neither of which are on nearly the same level as Breezy. For the matchup, this is game of the week because this is a rematch of last year's championship game. Both teams are looking pretty good so far, however, I see Trey getting his revenge from last year's loss. I'll have a grilled breeze sandwich. Well, guys, guess that's it for this week. Hopefully you won't have to deal with this week having to yell at your guys this. You blew it! But for some of you that's going to happen. This is fantasy. So, guess that's about it. Remember, like always, check your lineups and make sure that you talk a lot of crap like always. That's it. Alright, see you guys next week.